From the Oklahoman newsroom, this is an OSU update. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Scott Wright, OSU beat writer. Scott, a couple weeks ago, we saw Chuba Hubbard, 32 carries against Tulsa, and everybody, including Mike Gundy, said, that's too many. Then the Cowboys go to Texas. He gets 37, Chuba Hubbard does. This is a heavy workload. I mean, really unlike anything you see, even in run-heavy offenses, you don't see a running back get this many carries. What has got us to this point where he's got that kind of workload?
A couple of different things, particularly against Texas. Number one, they were playing an extra safety deep to try to take Tylan Wallace out of the game. So that gave Oklahoma State some favorable numbers in the box in the running game. Problem was they couldn't take advantage of it. So while Chuba Hubbard was carrying the ball 37 times, he was banging into guys at the line of scrimmage a lot and was really had his least productive in terms of yards per carry game of the season. So even though they were pounding him in there, it really wasn't being as productive as you would expect a 37 carry game to be for Chuba, the way he has performed up to this point of the season and even going back to last season. So that was a big part of it. And then you look at the backup running backs; they just haven't come along the way that the way that Oklahoma State felt that they would. L.D. Brown is a guy that's been around for a long time, knows the offense well, has great speed, but he hasn't had the opportunity to show it. Mike Gundy discussed that he was dancing a little too much in the backfield rather than just hitting the hole and using his speed. He got one carry against Texas. That play got strung out all the way to the sidelines. He ended up losing 4 yards. Never saw the field again except on kickoff returns. Behind him, Jamil Jeter has missed some time with an ankle injury. Des Jackson has hardly practiced at all throughout camp and into the season because of a stress fracture in his forearm. He was in some non-contact stuff really early on and is finally getting back, but he hasn't traveled with the team yet. DeAndre Glass, the true freshman, still trying to get up to game speed for Oklahoma State's offense. He is in good shape, but not the type of shape that they need him to be in. So they've had some issues there. Even Micah Cooper, the walk-on, who had some early moments of where he showed himself to be talented, he dealt with a quad injury, didn't travel to Tulsa. So they need some help from those guys. They need some help from some other areas that can kind of take some of the workload off of Chuba Hubbard.
Well, Scott, you mentioned these other running backs that for whatever reason it hasn't sort of worked out. If that continues to be an area where they just don't have a ton of helping hands, are there other options? The Cowboy back, they've got a lot of guys that are pass catchers, but could they hand the ball off some? I also think about, what we saw out of the New England Patriots a few years ago when, their run game was nearly non-existent. They just dink and dumped and basically had a running game that was with the pass. I mean, are those some options or is it, where do they sort of find some middle ground here? Because can't imagine 30-plus carries is going to be sustainable for Chuba Hubbard.
No, absolutely not. They've got to find a way to get away from those kind of numbers on a regular basis. There are going to be moments when you need Chuba to carry the ball that many times to go win a game, but you can't do it every week. The Cowboy backs, I think, in the passing game is an area where they can really be impactful. Dylan Stoner and Landon Wolf, those inside receivers, doing that in that kind of role that you talked about with the Patriots, those inside passes. If safeties are drifting to the outside to try to take Tylan Wallace away, then the middle of the field should be a little bit more open, and there should be opportunities to find those guys over the middle. We saw Dylan Stoner lead the team in catches against Texas. Landon Wolf got involved as well. So those guys have to get involved in the middle of the field to try to draw some guys back away from the line of scrimmage and maybe open things up a little bit more for Chuba Hubbard.
All right, we'll see how it goes on Saturday night. K-State comes to town, 6 o'clock kickoff up at Boone Pickens Stadium. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at Oklahoman.com and every day in the Oklahoman.